Hey everybody, it's Mike here with Angler Sports Center and your weekly fishing report for the Upper Bay. We have a ton of stuff to touch on, so right now there's just an explosive amount of things happening on the bay, lower bay, upper bay, so I'm just going to start with the basics. So striped bass fishing is still really good. They're really starting to pick them up in more spots. I know before it was kind of really layered to the Chesapeake Bay and Love Point, but it seems like the schools are really starting to scatter about. So jigging is still really good around structure using BKDs. A lot of people are starting to switch to metals just because we have the mackerel stuff going on, as well as bluefish. So while most people are still using jig heads and jerk plastics, we're getting a lot of people using sting silvers, rain minnows, and a bunch of other half ounce to 2 ounce jigs as well. Live lining is also still really good, so we're still live lining spot around the bridge, around breaking fish, or just marking fish over top of the channels. Trolling is also doing really well. Again, with the mackerel, we're trolling a lot of smaller spoons, so the same Clark spoons, Lure Jensen, Tony spoons, and Heddon spoons, or Huntington spoons, and hardhead spoons are all working, and for the most part we're just sizing up and slowing down a little bit. So same trolling like you're trolling for mackerel, just slowing down and sizing up your lure a little bit for those. So I'm gonna move on from rockfish. White perch, still really great, so they're all in the creeks. Definitely throw spinners out there against shorelines, use grass shrimp, bloodworms, any kind of bait on bobbers or bottom rigs is gonna be good. You're also gonna find spot and perch mixed on hard bottoms, so your oyster beds, and on structure, so places like the Bay Bridge. So fishing for them is really good right now, whether you're bottom fishing or casting lures. That's going to be in full swing. Crabbing, which I don't think we've mentioned in weeks and weeks, is actually starting to pick up. So they are starting to catch crabs in the creeks, anywhere from say 5 to 8 feet of water. That generally does get better as the season rolls on, so expect the end of this month and most of September to be pretty good on that front, weather pending. Other things happening with fishing, I've already talked a ton about Spanish mackerel without even technically talking about them. So again, we're using a slew of small, faster trolling spoons. Most people are using number 1 or 2 planers, and then we've got the Huntington spoons, Clark spoons, Hardhead's new spoon here. Got them all in stock. So these are all about, I don't know, 2 inches to 4 inch long spoons that you can troll up to 6 and 9 knots with. So that's doing really great for mackerel. We've been seeing them now almost all the way up to the Bay Bridge. So a week or 2 ago, it was kind of more Chesapeake Beach, Poplar Island, that area. We've had some of our employees do really well just off of Chesapeake and as far up as Talley's Point. So a lot of people are trolling, but you can also cast for them. So mackerel, the big thing is something that's flashy, small, and you retrieve fast. So instead of your usual striped bass jigging, you're gonna be jerking and retrieving. So some of the hotter baits have been, which I don't think we're gonna have till later today, but we will be getting them in, are GI Jigs rain minnows. We also carry some custom-made sting silvers. These are 1 and 1/8 sting silvers, which are great in gold. They have these little flash mylar jigs that work great, all single hooked, which is good. And some of our employees, which is not the fanciest jig in the world, but have been using these zombie eye jigs, which have been working really great. We sell single hooks that you can replace the treble on those, but those have been working really well as well. A couple other things happening. So redfish, they've been getting up as far up as Chesapeake Beach, mostly sight casting those with jigs and whatnot, but they are up here. And if you go farther down the bay, you're going to see Cobia as well, which they're doing a lot of live lining of eels, which we also have in stock. Trying to think of what else is happening. I think that's pretty much it on the fishing front. We do expect the stripe, just going back to striped bass actually. So as the temperatures cool down, I know this weekend we're looking at a lot of like 70 to upper 70s, lower 80s. As this temperature starts to churn and the water temperature starts to turn, the shallow water bite, which I already know some people are doing pretty well on, is gonna pick up. So all your top water plugs, your subsurface rattle traps and stuff, working the early mornings, late evenings around the mouths of the rivers and that sort of structure, and even in the rivers, that's gonna all start picking up. So that's gonna be really good as well. So look for the rivers, mouths of the rivers, to really start getting you know, a lot more larger stripers as we move forward. So thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next week.